Hello everybody, this is Gregory with Permanent Weight Loss Made Easy, where there should be no hesitance in your weight loss and weight maintenance. Today we're going to do a little review on the problems with industrial grade vegetable oils and how they are obesogenic. Now before I begin, if you need help with weight loss, contact me through the Clarity FM link found here in the episode notes. Also check out my 2 books, which you can find on Amazon, my website, naturopathicearth.com, which has hundreds of articles and recipes, and my podcast, The Awakened Man and the Cinema Rag, in addition to Confessions of an Obese Child. You can find all those at the website or on Apple and Spotify. And lastly, if you appreciate my content, there's a link for PayPal. So there was a recent study that came out from, I think, Temple University, about the effects of canola oil on the body and how it leads to not only it being an obesogen, increases your chances of being overweight, but it actually increases amyloid plaque buildup in the brain. And amyloid plaque buildup is the kind of predisposing factor for Alzheimer's. And so I thought it'd be good to do a kind of like a review on the problems with industrial grade vegetable oils. So the two most common types of, actually there's probably 3, but you look at canola oil, you look at soybean oil, and you look at corn oil. And all of these are problematic for a variety of reasons. All 3 of them are genetically modified. And genetic modified food, probably the most famous study on that is the rat study out of France that they did about 10 years ago. They fed mice and baby rats and baby mice GMO food for their whole, I think it was like the first 3 months of their life, and the rats got tumors and they died quickly, very quickly afterwards, and they were only fed GMO foods. And genetically modified foods, I mean, the companies would tell you there's legitimate reasons to splice the DNA of a cold fish into an orange. That way, when the frost cold season comes, it doesn't destroy the orange crop. You can see it from their perspective why they'd want to do this, because it's about money. But again, playing Frankenstein with science isn't a good thing necessarily. But all 3 oils have that problem. Corn oil is pretty much in everything, and one of the byproducts of corn oil is high fructose corn syrup, which of course is in sodas now. They don't even put cane sugar, and cane sugar has its problems, but at least it's natural. It comes from the cane sugar that you can chew on. And so high fructose corn syrup is another well-known obesogen. The way it's metabolized by the body leads to a host of problems. It spikes your insulin, of course, because it's just pure ultra refined sugar. So if you look on the back of middle aisle grocery store foods, whether they be cookies, granola bars, cereals, you will find all 3 of these oils in there. And these oils are used for different reasons. One of them is to sweeten it. Most of the time though, it's used as a preservative or an emulsifier. So it's these oils that make that Nutri-Grain bar that you're eating soft, for example. And that's why they put them in there. You also look at canola oil. Canola and soybean are pretty common. Those are the 2 you're going to find most common in the middle aisle of the grocery stores. And canola oil is actually a portmanteau for Canadian oil, because the plant that it comes from is called rapeseed. And the people in Canada, the manufacturers thought, yeah, maybe that's not the best name for an oil. So they changed the name to Canadian oil or canola oil. And with soybean oil, of course, that comes from soybean as well. These are the 2 most common things, and you'll find them in everywhere. Like I eat 90% dark chocolate, and 2 of the most common brands, Lindt being one of them, Trader Joe's is another one, has soybean oil in dark chocolate, when dark chocolate should only really have the cacao and small amounts of sugar. But they'll put it in there as well. So you'll find it on everything. And the problem with them is, aside from being obesogen and increasing your chances of getting dementia, it clogs up your arteries. A good place to see this would be in peanuts and nuts. So when we eat roasted nuts, they roast them in rancid industrial vegetable oil. They're not soaking them in extra virgin olive oil. They're using the same oil over and over. It's kind of like with French fries at McDonald's, right? They just use the same oil to fry things. And so when you're eating these things that are either roasted in oils or cooked in these oils, it's just clogging up your coronary arteries. So in closing, like, what should you do? Well, ideally, we want to avoid the middle aisle of the grocery store, because those are the frankenfoods. They're all fake. We want to eat a kind of a paleo adapted life where it's just fruits, vegetables, clean foods, And then, a modicum of healthy dark chocolate, beans, lentils, some things like that, that were found readily available for hundreds of thousands of years, because we are kind of evolutionarily predisposed to breaking these down pretty easily. But when it comes to chips and cereals and donuts, I mean, none of these were found in nature at all. And so our body has problems metabolizing them. And then it's just a pure shot of just bad fake sugar in these things. So ideally, we want to minimize at least the middle aisle grocery foods. And the other thing is, look on the back, because my hummus, I love hummus. Most hummuses don't even have olive oil. If you buy the store-bought, they have canola oil. So if you look on the back, you're going to see that pretty much every item, a lot of items, are going to be these oils. You find them in peanut butter. You find them in chips. Like the typical Cheeto, what do you think that is cooked in? Right? It's in canola oil. So it's really hard to avoid these things. If you can shop at Whole Paycheck at Whole Foods, they've made an oath not to have some of these things in there. Like Whole Foods doesn't sell anything with aspartame or food dyes or any of these things. So the best thing to do is really try to buy organic if it's something that you can afford. But even with organic, you might not be getting GMO soybean oil or GMO canola oil, kind of like with organic corn chips, right? So all corn is GMO. So if you're eating a corn chip like Fritos, that's all GMO. But you could buy organic corn chips. So that's corn that's not genetically modified or sprayed with pesticides, but you're still eating corn. And corn isn't nearly as insidious as the vegetables that we're talking about. But just understand, if you do buy something that's organic, it's still going to have canola oil. So it's still going to have, it won't be GMO, but it's still going to have the effects of it increasing your chances of getting Alzheimer's and clogging your arteries. So the best thing to do is just try to avoid these foods the best you can. But in general, it is useful and helpful to always read the ingredients. Guys, post in the comments. I'd like to hear from you. Until next time, take care. God bless and pray.